We're going to take a look at the cover price top 10, dive into the values of these books and if they've risen over historical highs. Let's take a look up next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hey there, panelologists. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. We're starting a new series, this weekly cover price top 10. I'm kind of approaching the top 10 a little bit different than other YouTube channels do, in that we'd like, especially for established books, take a deeper dive into the values. Now, Very Gary covers the cover price top 10 like 1, 2, 3, 4 years later. And the lesson we learn is, like, the hot book of the week, the big variant cover, very rarely holds its value over time. So let's take a look, and we have some books that move because of new news, some books that are perennial keys and maybe get a little bit of a boost, and some books that that are because of some variant covers that people give into FOMO. So let's take a look. We'll start at number 10 on the list, and I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go to number 10 on the list. And this is Heart Attack #1. This is a 2019 book from Image. And if we go to Key Collector, we'll see that in a post-pandemic world, gene therapy has saved Americans from disease, only to give birth to people with powers so unique the government denies their human rights. So sort of a crossover between the pandemic and the X-Men. Just recent news, Fuji TV to adapt a live-action television series and distribute worldwide. Now, this has been around long enough for there to be graded copies, but I don't know if there are. I mean, I'm sure there have to be. It was a #1 of an independent book. Nothing is sold and no census discovered. So this is Be Very Careful. The Skybound One-Stop Shop edition is available for $189 on eBay. Let's just quickly go to eBay and look at Heart Attack #1 and look at what's available. $6, $14, $10, $6, but $6 shipping is like $12.39, including shipping plus taxes. You're going to have to probably pay about $10. This, if you find it in a dollar bin, great. I don't think there might be a variant cover that has been graded and is available. That's the $189 one we saw. That's really the only one available. So I don't know if that's something you're interested in. There is news about it. I would proceed with caution, but it does say that Fuji TV is going to adapt, and production is to begin at the end of 2023 in Tokyo. If you see this in a dollar bin, I would say grab it. I'm going to kind of put this in my mental Rolodex, but I'm not going to go out of my way to find it. Maybe I'll look to see if the LCS has it for a few bucks. I might pay $5 for it just to throw it around. It does sound like an interesting concept. So let's go to number 9 on the list. And this is a book that maybe this week is driven by the top rated television show in America, Sunday Night Football. Right? I think even if you're not a football fan, you saw Taylor Swift cheering on her boyfriend, the guy for the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't keep up to date on celebrity news as well as, but she was in a spot with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, and comic people went crazy. I have to get my tickets to take my daughter to the my younger one definitely wants, she's a Swiftie, has to see the Eras Tour movie, and my older one absolutely does not want to see it. So anyway, Dazzler #1. This is an established key. It's not her first appearance. I think this was on the list last week. So let's take a quick look at this on Go Collect. There are a ton of them out there. I'm going to look at the 9.8 because there are almost as many 9.6s as 9.8s. There's 1,400 on the census, 341.98. There have been 214 sales. And remember, there are no newsstands for this. Pretty consistent around $200. And that's been like it hasn't fallen. This book has not fallen at all since the comic boom, right? It did have it jumped up at one point. Maybe there was some news about it. Well-established key, pretty solid at $200 in a 9.8. Obviously, the big book to get is her first appearance in X-Men number 130. It is a run in the X-Men, that very popular run from 94 through 143, all the Cockrum and Byrne issues. So this is something to look at. The top sale, where is it? Top weekly sale for a graded comic of $180. So, yeah, this is becoming a solid key. Could it go up further if we have confirmation? We see her in costume. Yes. Could it plummet into the depths of hell if that is if she doesn't end up doing the role? Possibly. So I kind of know that right now it's a $200 book. I could see it if she doesn't do it, or she does, and then it's kind of a one-off, going back down to about $100, which is where it was, kind of trending in the late teens. So yeah, that's your Dazzler number 1. Let's go to number 8 on the list. Superman for All Seasons. Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale. I love these Loeb Sale, Batman the Long Halloween, and what is it? The Spider-Man White. He did a Daredevil. They did a Daredevil book, Captain America book. I'm not sure if there's any new news on this. I think the speculation doesn't even come up as in Key Collector is that potentially we will see this. It's a $10 book, nothing above that. A 9.8 one sold for $30. Not even a book that is high graded. Speculation that James Gunn in the Superman Legacy film may use part of this storyline to inform it. I think he's going to take from a lot of different inspirations for that screenplay. Writer's strike is over. He's back writing the screenplay again. Most recent report in terms of DC news is that Peacemaker, season 2, Gunn is back to writing. I think he wrote season 1 in a week, so doesn't need a lot of time. Who knows? And the thing about that show is who knows who he's going to include. Who had Judo Master on their bingo card? Let's go to number 7 on the list, and it's Night of Cadillacs, number 1 from Scout Comics. I don't know anything about this. Night of Cadillacs. Nothing. I got nothing. This is a book. When is this from? It's from last year. I don't see anything special going on. If we look at where it is on the weekly movers list, it is, I missed number 7. I gotta make a correction now. So we'll adjust for that in a minute. We'll just do number 6 before number 7. It's all good. Top sale, $35 for a graded comic, 33 books sold. I don't know what's moving this book, to be honest with you. Let's Google Night of Cadillacs. I don't see. That's from March. I don't see anything that would cause this to pop. I don't know. I'm a little mystified why people are jumping on Night of Cadillacs, but I'm not going to go pursuing it. Do I have that in my personal collection? I don't think so. Maybe I do. Night of Cadillacs. Doesn't sound familiar, but Night. Nope. Night Thrasher, Night of the Ghoul, but no Night of Cadillacs. I don't know what to say about this. Are they restarting the series? There were only 2 issues. No idea. If you have information, leave it in the comments. Then we'll backtrack to Spider-Man 2099, number 1, first appearance of Miguel O'Hara. Interesting to see this back on the list. We see that there was a graded sale of $175. Let's look at this on Go Collect, because this is now an established key. It is a more modern book. So there are 8,800 universal copies in the population and 3,400 9.8s. 9.8 is got a fair market value of $150. I think people just jumping on this book in anticipation of Spider-Verse next year. Fixed. This is not a newsstand. No, that's just somebody paid a $225 for it. Good for that seller. It's been a little bit of uptick this month, right? We're looking like the last 5 sales have all been increases since in the last week. I mean, look at all these sales that just in the last week. This is a popular book, fixed price. All in the 150s, then down to 130, up to 142, 158, 175, 225. All fixed price sales. What can we get that for right now? If I wanted that on Spider-Man 2099, number 1, CGC 9.8. What do we have to spend? $150. Maybe somebody liked the cut of that one better. $150, $149. Buy it now. So you can get this for $150 all day. There are like this half, 6, 7, 8, $150, 9, 10, and somebody 145, 11, 12, 13. There's like 13 copies at a 9.8 on eBay. So that's I surprised that people are paying more for it than that. Oops, I'm sorry. But there you go. And again, if we look at historical data, which is kind of interesting to see where this has been over the last couple of years, it boomed because we knew we were getting him at the end of the first Spider-Verse film, and it just jumped. I mean, really jumped. Let's find the sold price. Can I get the sold price? There's sold price. From 72, which is like it had been under 100 pretty much up through 2020, and then the boom and Spider-Verse took it up, and then it had another bump when we knew he was going to be in the next film. That brought it over 200, and it's kind of settled down. But again, if we look at the trend, hasn't lost a lot of its value from the comic boom, has maintained that, and that's because of his presence in the Spider-Verse. The one thing I'm concerned about with this book long term is there are plenty of them out there, and there are more and more going out to CGC every day, I'm sure. I got one in the hopper I think I just sent it out 2 weeks ago. So fingers crossed on that one. So it has been holding its value. After the movie comes out, if there's no more traction across pop culture with the character, what are we going to see? And I think that there's plenty. We saw all those 9.8s on eBay, plenty of supply. There is still high demand. And speaking of supply and demand, let's go to Spawn number 1. This was on the list last week too. Where does it fall? There was a $193 sale in a graded comic. Spawn 1 is, one of the most submitted comics of all time, almost 24,000 copies on the census, and exactly 11,000 9.8, 69 9.9s, and 6 10s. No sale of a 10, but we're talking FMV of 170. And let's see how that compares over the last few years. There has been movie news, right? This went up with the comic boom, and it has had a slow trickling down. People are anticipating that there will be movie news coming. And we can see, look at this, since 9/26, all of these sales, basically in a week, all those 9.8s, those are just 9.8 sales. What can we get it for on eBay right now? There's an auction for 122. that ends today at 10:34 in the morning, 10:38 in the morning. Be interested to see. I'm going to bookmark that just to see where it ends up. 147 buy it now, 150 buy it now, 195, 100 with one bid. Newsstand goes for more of a premium. 160, an auction there, an auction. So there are a bunch of auctions. There are a lot of signed copies. A lot of signed copies. Todd McFarlane signs comic books. And he does appreciate his fans from, the interesting is that. So there's plenty of copies available. This guy wants 250. It's the last one. So that's a pretty healthy price for Spawn number 1. Let's move on to, this was on the book last week, the first appearance of Wolverine in Wolverine 38. The trend is, this is number 4 on our list. There have been 38 units sold. Top sale of $29. Interesting character, Wolverine, combination of Ghost Rider and Wolverine. Maybe I would, if I see it on the shelves, I might grab one. Not going to say much more about that. It's, a book you can, if I could pay cover price for it, fine, because we'll come back to it. No, actually, I'm sorry. The second print is still to come out. Let's move to number 3 on the list. All new Wolverine number 1. With what is the speculation regarding this? Right, 51 units sold. Let's look at all new Wolverine number 1. Let's look in Key Collector. All new Wolverine. Debut of X-23 as Wolverine. The actress whose name escapes me that played her in the Logan movie, speculation we might see her. That's pure speculation at this point. But we do have an established book that there have to be plenty of copies out there. Not as much as, let's say, Spider-Man 2099. 1,400 on the census, but of 1,400, 1,100 are 9.8s. 78% of them are 9.8s. Generally sells for under $100, but the fair market value. But it had a bump in the comic boom, came down pretty quickly at the end of 2021, and it's fairly consistent. We see a little uptick here. Okay. People want to get in on this book, and look, in the last week, it was selling for under 90, and then 106, 109, 115, 115, 130, 115. What can we get it for on eBay right now? Spoiler warning, I'm not going to buy it. All the really low price copies have probably sold. The 1 in 10 Deadpool slab, that's pretty funny. 180. J. Scott Campbell variant. That one I'd probably rather have. Here, 125. It's about in line with what we're seeing. 103, but more shipping from Canada. They're all variants of this cover, so you'd really have to do your research. In 140 in terms of what you would want on this. Plenty of variants on this book from 2016. Blank sketch variants and J. Scott Campbell's and sketch covers and all sorts of things. So, maybe we'll see the character. A book that is not difficult to get in a 9.8, but isn't really worth probably getting less than that. If we look at sales just of a 9.6 out of curiosity, you're talking about, like, it did peak to 106 once, but now we're talking about a $36 book case cost. So you need that in a 9.8 period, end of story. If you get it for under 100, might be worth it, but do your own research. I'm just here to look at some books, and let's go to number 2 on the list. And it is Void Rivals number 4, this Kirkman series, which is kind of trying to tie together all the Hasbro properties. This came out like now, and it's already in a 9.8. This is a spoiler 1 in 25 variant. So, like, yeah, there was a slabbed very quickly slabbed. But you look at like raw copies in this $60 range. This is for the variant. The Darbo spoiler. So let's check eBay. Void Rivals 4 Darbo. And I'm not going to put in CGC. Void Rivals 4 Darbo. $40. That looks kind of wavy anyway. Auction 65, auction 100. Yeah. I'm not sure. There's plenty of them. I'm sure at this point, I don't even know if we would see. I mean, 9.8 sold, but I'm gonna imagine that was like a pre-order. Spoiler. These spoiler variants have been popular, but we saw with the death of Ms. Marvel, Spider-Boy was popular. Yeah, there's no census discovered. So probably somebody pre-ordered 9.8. Shop just submitted a whole bunch of variants, one of the big shops, and guaranteed a certain number of 9.8s. They have to have their fingers crossed. Let's go to number 1 on the list, and it is a revisit of, what is this, Wolverine 36. 37, the Capullo Virgin 1 per store variant. $100 comic right now. If we look at no slab data because it hasn't been slabbed, let's check eBay real quick. Wolverine 37. What's his name? Capullo. No, Capullo. Silly. Yeah, the Virgin one. $50. Buy it now. 70, 80, 70. And what the thing for me is if you're interested in the artwork, I don't go for these incentives. Auction $30, auction at $62, where the artwork is the same as something we've already seen. So if you go into your LCS and you see, I mean, all of these are potential. I don't know, because it also is that the 36 is the Wolverine and 37 is the Capullo. I'm not sure if any of those will have staying power, but that's it for this video. Thanks for stopping by and spending some time looking at some comic books. Let me know what you think about the top 10. What book would you buy right now? Do you think anything is worth investing in, or is it just what you want as part of your collection? As we've seen, the books that made this list, I guess because their demand is up, they have, over the course of recent history, fairly well held their values in a 9.8. So thanks for stopping by. You can take a look at a couple of my other videos here. And this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.